Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cultural Resets Artist Interview Series. This is Nick.
I'm Shay.
We are here with another incredible artist, like we do every single week. Her name is María Moss. She is a recording artist who does pop, and she mixes Spanish with Latin sounds, and she's worked with a wide array of big names in the music industry, including Cher and Enrique Iglesias. And she is here to talk with us about her experience in the industry. So,
Welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, my name is María Moss, and I use she and her. And I have been living in London for a few years, and that gave me the opportunity to develop my sound and start releasing music, right?
When the closeness reveals your scars, you still wear them so well, you wear them so well. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up now. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up now. Don't give up.
So you said you lived in London, but right now you're in Spain, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I am here. I have been here for a couple of months, and I'm gonna go back in 2 weeks, something
Nice.
like that. Yeah.
Oh wow, coming up.
nice. Is that where you're based out of?
In London, yes.
In London specifically. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So we can start off the interview by talking about, a standard question, that we always ask our artists. So when and where did your creative journey begin?
Very early. My parents told me that I started telling them that I wanted to be a singer and a dancer when I was 3 years old.
Oh.
And I was constantly saying it.
Mhm.
But so then of course I was all the time singing and dancing around the house, but then I started my studies when I was 13, 14. So I started singing, and I also did acting and dancing, and yeah, I got it from there. I first started in a jazz school, and then I went to the conservatoire, and then I did a course of musical theater, but I always wanted to do pop. It's just that I was very motivated to learn the vocal technique.
Mhm.
And yes, so I started as a function band singer, and I started working and touring in Catalonia when I was 16. And then I started writing songs, and I moved to London.
Wow. I mean,
And
you got started
here we are.
very young. You got
Yeah.
started very, very, very young. Wow. So at 3, you knew that you wanted to be like an artist, like you wanted to pursue this career path. Did that ever change for you while you were growing up, or was it always that, like you knew that from the start?
There was a point, I never say this, but there was a point when I was like 8, 9, and that I wanted to be a nurse for a couple of months. And then I just went back to
And then I went right back. Like I wonder if there was something when you're 3 years old that like triggered in your mind, I want to be a pop star. I want to play music. I want to sing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it was a television. I was like, oh yes,
Mm.
so amazed by all these artists, and I really, I have always been very active, very energetic, and I really loved dancing and singing and performing, and so I think I like that was my passion, and I wanted to, pursue that dream and make money from it, right? So and live from it, so yes. It's just something that I have always wanted to do since I was a kid. And then, of course, when I was at primary and secondary school, even though I had to do other things, I was still doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Through
really
all of
enjoyed it.
academia, through all of everything, you were still pursuing music. That is really, really dope to me. I wanted to ask about your influences because, like, if you start off really, really young and like you knew that you wanted to do this, I'm sure throughout your life you've had like this wide array of musical influences. So, who are some of the people that inspire your music today?
So let's go chronologically. I started with Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Spice Girls, you know, all these
Classics.
Spanish artists, like for example La Oreja de Van Gogh and things like that. But and Pink, Avril Lavigne.
Oh,
Oh yeah, I am pronouncing it like oh, but yeah, and Cher, of course. And then later on, I really loved Rihanna, also Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, the Black Eyed Peas, Linkin Park. I love them all. Oh, I can give you so many.
so many.
Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, of course, and now, apart from that, of course, it would be Sia, Ed Sheeran. Oh, there's so many. I am blank, but
that was a solid list.
That's a big list.
That was
yeah, but I mean, and I have always loved listening to other. Of course, now I was listing all the pop artists, but I also loved Alicia Keys, for example. Like I really love her, and well, Queen, the Rolling Stones. You know, yeah, I really loved other genres too. Bruno Mars.
I love that all the names that you're naming are like the biggest, most influential people in music. I just want to talk about that because like I think that kind of shows where your headspace is at, right? I mean, I mean, you're very big time in my opinion. Like based like on this conversation that I'm having, like in your mind, like I feel like you're a very, very big time.
I don't know. I think that there is a lot of strong female artists in that list, and I definitely
do.
I feel like just the strong female artist power from your influences reflected in your own music. But I think that's also a reflection of you as, you know, the powerful woman you are.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that this is a little bit early for me to be talking about this, but it's the perfect transition into your most recent song, Superwoman, which I watched the music video to it, and I mean, the fact that it came out like right now and it just like showed such a beautiful side of like, you know, the hard work that goes into like being an educator or just, you know, like being a woman and hardworking in the field and having to stay up late and just like do the job. And it's like, you are a superwoman, you know, even if you don't have a cape and your name shining in the sky.
Yeah, to me it was very important to release this single called Superwoman on International Women's Day, and so I waited a little bit, and it was really good for me to make the video in Tarragona. So Tarragona is in Spain and is my hometown, and as I said, you know, I live in London, but now I had the opportunity to shoot in Tarragona. So for me, it was like, oh, you know, very nostalgic. And it has, you know, 5 women with different stories, and they are all fighters and they are all queens, super women. So then I really wanted to represent as many women as I could. Of course, you know, you cannot have many people in one video, but I think that 5 women is a good number, and I loved recording it here.
Yeah, about the song, I really felt like it was very cinematic. The song itself, like the production was very, very cinematic, like very heavy on the sound of like. For me, it felt like orchestral in a way. You know, it felt like something I'd hear at the movies. So what was that like, developing that song, writing it, and then also helping out on the production side of things?
It was, so at the beginning, the song was dance. So it was a dance song. And then I changed it to make it a little bit more poppy. But then I was like, no, I want this to be an anthem, like a song that people could sing in the shower, or a song that people could listen when they are low, or they are, I don't know, when they need a song to, you know, on a Monday morning, you know. And so that's why I wanted it to be quite cinematic. So I tried to make it like a mix there. And so, as I said, you know, I started with this song a dance track a few years ago actually, and then I just modified it until I worked with Jamie Sellers. So because I every time when I make my songs, I try to produce a demo with Logic Pro, and then I always like to work with another producer, so then we can both look at it and be like, okay, are we gonna keep it like this? Are we gonna change some sounds? Are we gonna move things around? Or so I did that with him, and it was such an amazing experience. And then Pete Maher, who is he has worked with Katy Perry and U2 and the Rolling Stones and so many other artists and films and stuff. He mastered the track, so I'm very happy for it too.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It is definitely like a power on, like activate sport mode song where you feel just like so empowered by it. It's definitely I am woman, hear me roar. At least that's what it makes me want to do.
Nice.
But I love that you saved it for International Women's Day, because I think that was like, a special gift, like to yourself, but also to other women, putting it out. And it still is, International's Women's Month or Women's History Month. We rule, year round, but so.
But this month is about the special focus.
This month is our month, so
yes.
You can't have it.
Every day is Women's Day. Women's Day.
Yes.
Superwoman, you are superwoman. Don't you know you were born this way? You just gotta remind yourself to keep up the pace. Keep up the pace.
That was a very powerful song for empowerment, but I think that there's also, and I'm sure you have had the time to sit down and think about, like, why it is we really need that empowerment and that togetherness, and like, really appreciating women for the jobs that they do. Like this past year has been so difficult, and there's been a lot of women who have had to, like, leave the workforce because their kids can't go to school or something, and it's just like, you are faced with this decision to be able to continue your career, and it's like, a lot of women have also had to do both, and you really do need a power on button to be able to push through and be like, I can do this, I've got this, like, I don't know, have you felt that your song is kind of like much needed hope or strength? Because I mean, this has been a particularly difficult time for women, and I don't know, I think this really highlights that. And I think that your music video, it was emotional because it was just like, these are 5 women's stories and they are all so powerful, but every woman's story is powerful.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. Oh, nice.
That was so beautiful. That was extremely poetic. I mean, as I want to say, like, as a man, like, listening to that song, like, I still also felt empowered. Like I felt like it was directed towards women, but I felt like it was directed towards this sort of just towards humans, like in general. Like, this has been, like Shay was saying, like, this has been a really difficult time for all of us. I know for me too. COVID has been really, really rough for everyone. So I mean, like, I think that this was a perfect time for something like that to release. I felt really good about it. I felt really, really energized, I guess, for me. That's the best word to describe it.
Power on button.
Power on. So
I tend to write these kind of songs. I try to send messages of empowerment and love, and I try to make mood boosters, and I don't know if you have listened to my previous songs, like there's a song called Gold,
Yes.
that basically is kind of like Superwoman and Gold. They are very, very, they are quite similar in that sense, right? That they give power, they give strength. Gold is more, well, it's directed to everyone, right? And Superwoman, I just think I have always wanted to make a song for women, for for all the women. Of course, like not only, of course, I feel really glad that you feel motivated because of the song. So I'm really, really happy too. But to me, it was like, a mission, right? To be like, no, I need to write something for them, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, it's so nice to hear that everybody's enjoying it, not only women, right?
Yeah, for sure. I also wanted to
I
ask you
guess Nick can
too.
enjoy it too.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm
I'm
sorry.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So I wanted to ask about your career as a songwriter as well, because you do like write a lot of songs and you also translate songs for other artists as well. I want to talk about that process because I've never talked to an artist who has translated other people's songs for a new sort of music market. What type of process is that like, and how do you make sure that the meaning of the song, the original meaning of the song, is kept in the new translated version? Because words can be lost in translations, feelings, flavor can be lost in translation. So, how do you maintain that?
It's complicated. It's
Mm-hmm.
very complicated. Also because of the rhythm, you know. If you like something that in English you will say it like in 3 words or 4 words, in Spanish you may need a huge, a really long sentence, and the words tend to have more syllables. So it's complicated to fit everything in the whole. So sometimes you have to adapt the melody a little bit, because if not, you wouldn't be able to fit everything. And then that's the thing, like you cannot really translate it literally, because then you will lose all the, I don't know what you were saying, the emotion, the hidden hints there that you would. It's just quite complicated. So then what I try to do is I try to talk to the artists, and I try to ask him or ask her, what are you trying to achieve with this song, which is the message? And then a lot of times I give them a few options, and then I tell them, look, in this case, for example, I changed this verse to this one, and it's saying this and that, right? And the other one, okay, it's saying kind of the same, but in Spanish we would say it like this, right? Like this one, it wouldn't really make sense, but if you actually want to say this, you can say it too, because it just depends on the person. So then I try to guide them too. I don't want to, I think it's a complicated process and it's a long process, but I try to give them options. So then, so they are not blind, because it's quite complicated, right? To have someone just translating your song and you don't really know what you're saying,
Right.
and a lot of times you just want to translate the mood, with different words you can achieve the same thing.
But you have to find those words. And that's,
exactly.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you as an artist? Because that process, based on what you're describing, seems really collaborative. It seems like you're really in a position a lot of times where you're connecting with other artists and you're really trying to interpret what they're trying to say, what their art form is. How does that impact your personal art? Has that impacted your personal art?
When I work for someone else, I don't think that it changes my personal project, because I know what I want to do. But it's true that I love being around people, and I'm very social. So then is when I write songs for my project, for example, is when I think it changes a little bit. because maybe if I would be singing, if I would be writing a song, I will maybe do this. And then when I'm writing with someone, it's like, no, but go there. And I'm like, no. So basically you need to come to a, I don't know, you need
Middle
to
ground?
Consensus.
yes.
Both good words.
Yeah. I think it's complicated. Sometimes it can be complicated to be like, okay, you want this and I want that, so let's be in the middle. But I think it's so fun. It's so cool to work with other people. So I think it's worth it.
What was it like working with some of the big names that you worked with? Because like we were saying before, Cher, Enrique Iglesias, those
I
are
didn't work with Enrique Iglesias. I worked with Mark Taylor, who is the writer and the producer of Enrique Iglesias and Kylie Minogue and Nelly Furtado and Cher. Yeah.
Okay.
It was amazing. It was amazing. So Cher was touring and she needed someone to help her sing the song Chiquitita. Chiquitita is a song by ABBA.
Uh-huh.
And she already sang Chiquitita in English, but she wanted to sing it in Spanish. So I helped her sing it with the correct pronunciation.
Mhm.
And so she came to London and we went to the studio, and yeah, and she's so nice. She's so friendly and humble and hardworking. She's such an inspiration to me. Of course, when they called me, I was amazed. It's like, oh, she knows who I am. And then when I saw her, face to face, it was a dream come true.
Wow. Meeting your icon.
And we had such a good vibe in the studio, because it's such a complicated thing to make someone sing in a language that, if you have never talked in a language, if you do not know a language, how are you gonna sing with the correct pronunciation, right?
So did you help her translate that song?
No, the song was already translated.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
So yeah, because ABBA made a Spanish. Actually, ABBA made 2 Spanish albums. They translated their songs.
Oh wow.
ABBA has 2 Spanish albums?
Yeah. So basically, they translated their songs that they already had in English, and they.
I wonder if they had a translator to help them.
I want.
Imagine, yeah, probably. I'm wondering too, like, God, that process is really interesting. I remember I watched a video of Beyonce in the studio recording "Si yo," what is in Spanish? "Si yo fuera un chico," if I were a boy.
Yeah.
In Spanish, and I remember watching the coach working with her while she was on the mic, and it's just so, it seems like such an intricate process because there are little tiny like things that you have to make sure that you're doing with the vowels and everything like that, making sure that it really sounds authentic and not too, overly Americanized. And I know that some people criticize Beyonce's Spanish accent, even though she put in a lot of work to really make it the way that she did. But it seemed to me that a lot of it is more technical than it is like the feeling of the song. Because when you're singing in your own language, it's more, you're just singing from your heart because you're singing the way you talk, saying the things that you usually say. But like when you're singing from somebody else's language, another culture's language, and you're trying to make your song kind of fit that, like what their conception of it would be, like it seems really technical. Does that seem accurate?
Yes, it is. It is. And I don't think it's fair that people criticize it, because I think that if you criticize it, it's because you haven't done it. It's like, it's very easy to criticize when you only know one language. Right? So and that makes me a little bit angry, right? Because look, I'm a Spanish artist. and I sing in English, and I know English, and I still have an accent, and I know I have an accent, and I am proud of it. But like someone that doesn't even know the language to sing in Spanish or in another language it's crazy. It's crazy. Also because there's so many vowels and consonants that they won't exist in your language, and you have to do it somehow. And there's a coach there trying to explain something that you are like, what are you talking about? Because the coach knows what for example, if I tell you, oh, but you have to put the tongue in your alveolar ridge, blah blah blah, you may know how to do it, or you may not. You're like, where is the alveolar ridge? You know what I mean?
What is that?
Yeah.
There's so many like really really technical things that you have to do, and you're like, I just sing, like as a singer you don't really need to know all this technical vocabulary and stuff,
Right.
and I think that doing that is amazing. And I am really happy that American and English and artists that they are from around the world, I am really happy that they are singing in Spanish too, and that they love the language. And yeah, I am so proud of them. And if they don't have a native accent, it's totally normal. Come on.
Yeah.
Who has a native accent? It's just
It's not a fair critique at all, I don't think. And
no.
so, I mean, we talked about this too with Barbara Teresa, one of the other artists that we interviewed, and it was about how the world music market is really turning towards Latin and Spanish music. For a while, really it was English and American music that was dominating the entire world market, but now we're seeing an appreciation for Latin music, an appreciation for Spanish music. In your career, and this is the same question we asked Barbara, in your career, have you ever felt like you had to sing in English for your records to sell, or for you to get attention as an artist, or for people to hear you?
Of course, if I want to be in the Spanish market, I don't need to, because the audience is the people that they're going to listen to me, they are Spanish. If I want to sing in Catalan, I know that people from Catalonia are going to listen to me, right? If I want to be in the English and the American market, yes, of course. I think that it's now when you guys are opening up, but it's normal. Like, for example, in Spain, people will listen to you if you sing in English, if you come from the outside. So, for example, Spanish people listen to Rihanna or listen to Sia or Little Mix or whoever, but because they are successful already in another market. But it's quite complicated to, for the people that they're in Spain to listen to someone that is Spanish and singing in English. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, but yeah, I totally agree that the global market is turning a little bit into the Spanish and Latin artistry. Also, they are starting to open up to the Asian and Asiatic markets. The Korean stuff. There's so many Korean artists now that they become global, when before it will be like, okay, who are they?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the world music market is really becoming more like the world music market, because before it was just English music mostly. But yeah, now you're right. Like, there is a larger appreciation for Latin and Spanish music, but there's also more of an appreciation for Asian markets. So K-pop specifically is the biggest genre in the world right now. And I think too, for me, this leads to another question. For you as an artist and also a music consumer yourself, does it matter the language that the song you're listening to is in? And when I say matters, I mean, can you still feel it the same way you would feel it if it was in your native language? Would you feel it the same way, if you could really understand the lyrics?
I'm so used to listening to music that I firstly didn't understand, So when I first started listening to music, right, or like when I was whatever 2 years old, 3 years old, right, until up when I was like 15, or I really didn't. So I will listen to all these artists, you know, like Rihanna, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't have a clue of what they were saying. And I loved it because it made me feel in a certain way. I don't think that music is just, okay, we need to pay attention to the lyrics. I think it's also about the voice, the rhythm, you know, like, I don't know, like the music makes you feel in a certain way. And I this may sound really bad, but a lot of times I preferred listening to a song in English, even though I didn't know what it meant, rather than a song in Spanish, just because it made me feel in a different way. Of course, then, you know, you Google it and you start understanding everything, right? But when I was 6, I didn't care, you know, like I was like singing the Spice Girls with my super Spanglish, you know. Basically I made up a new language because I didn't know what I was saying, you know. So I was trying to copy, you know, and sing what they were singing, but of course I was not singing what they were singing. But yeah, I mean, I think that it really depends. If I feel quite emotional and stuff, sometimes I like to listen to Spanish and Catalan songs. But it's true that I, like, most of the time I always sing. I always sing and listen to English songs. But it's true that there are still quite a lot of songs that I'm kind of like, oof, I need to pay attention to the lyrics. You know, like, for example, if a rapper is rapping, I'm like, for me, it's like, oh, this is too much. So I need to really, really pay attention. Yeah.
So we are coming to the end of our time.
Ooh.
But it's okay. We still, yeah, I know. It flew by. But we have 2 questions to wrap up with. And first one is for our listeners and our viewers and our readers. Do you have any advice or maybe trinkets of, you know, like recommendations or something for people who are in the music industry and trying to make it better, or trying to get into the music industry? And what advice would you have for them?
As a professional, it's important that you are punctual, trustworthy, and reliable. Super important in this industry, because there's so many crazy people that they are gonna, I don't know, leave you there hanging. But that's one thing. And then I think that the most important thing here is to connect with people. So the music has to be great, and it has to be up to a certain standard. It has to be professional, and it has to sound good, of course, you know, mixed well, mastered. But the most important thing here is to connect with people. So because you know, there's so much music out there. So it's not all about the music. It's also about who you are, what are you trying to say, which is your message. Are you, you know, which goal do you have? Which mission do you have? Right. Don't you think?
I agree.
It's more about that. It's the music is great, but what else are you doing?
Right. It's about your identity as much as it is about your art form, and how you express your identity and who you can work with to express your identity, for sure. I think it's great advice. And I guess we can end with our last question here. This is about you, Maria. Do you have any new projects coming out? Do you have any new albums in the works? Anything?
Anything
so
you
I can't say much. I can say much, but I am working with a few DJs So I'm going to release a few collaborations this year, and I am working on my album. Yes.
Okay. Very nice. Is there a release date yet, or can you not say?
No. Shh.
All right, shush on it. But everybody look forward to that for sure. Please. So, with that being said, I want to just
I
say,
want to thank you.
yeah,
I want to
exactly.
thank
Like,
you for your time, and
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
It
you so much.
Talking to
It's
you.
been a pleasure. I loved it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, it's just been just a really great opportunity just to talk to you and get your perspective, especially with the songwriting thing. That's something I was really curious about, and what it's like translating songs. So I'm happy that you elaborated on your process for that. And I just love the advice that you gave. I love
Thank
it.
Okay. I'm very excited for your next album.
Thank you so much. I hope you like it.
So with that being said, everybody, this has been another episode of the TCR Artist Interview Series. Please feel free to give us a follow on Instagram at TC Reset, as well as Facebook at The Cultural Reset. You can also find this on our YouTube channel at The Cultural Reset.
And follow Maria on Instagram and Facebook, and check out her website and watch her music video. What is your Instagram?
María Moss Official.
We'll plug all of her handles in the description below as well. So
perfect, thank you.
All right, it was a pleasure talking with you, Maria.
Bye, everybody.
It's a pleasure.
Right. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.